Thank you, everyone, for joining me here for this presentation. First of all, hi, I'm Luise. I'm Chief Strategy Officer at Experience One. I've got 16 years roundabout of working experience in leadership and strategy positions in large organizations and also agencies. But I think most importantly for the talk today is that I'm a psychologist by training. Exactly, at a girl. And try to apply that knowledge and that background even more over the past couple of years in my working experience. Whereas in the beginning I was trying to hide it, that I don't have an economy background, and right now it's, yes, we're getting there. But today I'm here to start a movement. And I want you all to join. Okay, who feels really awkward now already? Yes, who wants to leave the room? Okay, so I promise to each and every one of those that I'll spend the next half hour not only to convince you that I'm not mad, but to convince you that it may be worth considering joining me in my efforts here. But as a starting point, probably I'll start with how this the title of this talk came about. So around about 2 years ago, I had a chat with, let's call him the decision maker, someone in a senior management position in a blue chip organization. And we were chatting about their sustainability efforts that they have. And I was asking him why there weren't any more of that, given that Fridays for Future were a big thing at that moment, and BlackRock announced that they'll only finance those kind of companies who invest in sustainability goals and all of that. And he looked at me and said, "Dear, we'd love to do and earn more money with sustainable offers, but it's the people, you know? They claim they want sustainability, but in the end, they don't want to pay the money. We've tried and tried and tried, and if you only add €1, they don't just do that. People are like that, you know? They always pronounce, they're so hypocritical. They always say they want sustainability, but then in the end, they don't spend any money on that." And that made me furious, because not only did I buy into any of what he said about the picture and the image that he has about the people, which included me, but also I was furious at myself because I didn't have any solid good arguments to hold against his proven cases where they tried to implement something and it didn't work out. I didn't have any cases, I didn't have any data, I could just say, I don't believe that. And that stuck with me. And I had it in the back of my head when 2 weeks after that, or 2 weeks, I don't know, a couple of weeks after that, I had a phone call from my mom who went a bit like this. "Hi, Mom." "Hi." So, "Thank you so much for the present. The book is amazing. I didn't even know that the author had something out now. I'm really excited. Thank you so very much." A bit smart maybe. "Yes, I remember that you liked the author, and when I found out that he had a new book, I ordered that for you," and she was kind of proud that she remembered that, and that's very sweet. And then it was silence from me. And she said, "I know what you want to say now." Silence. "You want to say, as always, I shouldn't have sent it with Amazon to you, because I know they don't treat the workers right, and it's not good for sustainability, and I know all that. But it's not that I don't understand that, what you're telling me, that I don't listen, or that I hadn't tried differently. Because I went to my bookstore, I asked them to order the book, they say they have to import it from the UK, because they don't sell it here. They'll call me up if it arrives in the bookstore in 10 days. Then I have to get it there. I have to wrap it, write you a note, put it into the post office, and send it to you. And then I checked on Amazon, and they just have the book. And I can send it right to your place. And then I did it. Silence from my side. And after that, she said something really, really important, because she said, but it was you, by the way, who showed me how to use my iPhone for that kind of stuff, and who only 5 years ago told me, oh, it's so easy. Look at this amazing world where you can order everything from all around the globe and have it sent to everyone. And that is so much easier this way, and you only have to type in your data once. It was you. And that made me feel very much ashamed, because my hypocrisy made my mom feel bad. And on the other hand, furious again. Because what I realized is that it's not the people, or not only the people. It's not the money that they don't want to spend, but it's us. It's us as UX practitioners, more or less, experts for guiding and shaping user behavior, who make it so hard for people to act according to their values, or to what they have, to their intentions in the beginning. So, simple thing. I had a thought. Why not? Sorry, there's a mix-up. So I'll jump back and forth. And we know all about those bad mechanics, right? That everyone is using, the dark patterns, the hooked, the whatever is going into that. And so my first thought was, okay, why not collect the mechanics that guide and shape the behavior that the bad guys are using, and use it in order to build something that enables people and fosters their behavior in the direction of sustainability. Good one. But I'm not entirely sure if I do that I convince that guy. Because they will still tell me, no, it's the money. That's not what's making the difference. So I thought about, okay, what's going to convince those kind of people? Data. Data is going to help massively. And the good thing is that it's not only I won't name names, but big, large organizations that I don't share their values, that they are investing into shaping people's behavior, but that there has been a huge movement over the past 15 years where you have large-scale, real-life experiments how to change behavior. So you have the results from the nudge units from the UK that are close to the UK government, or the behavioral science team that you have in the US government. And they all prove over the past 15 years that if you apply those kind of mechanics, you really can shift people's behavior. So good, solid data that no one can argue about. That's not only about UX, little tricky, tiny things, but really, really how you do that. So that's good. And on top of that, there's a lot of pop psychology stuff that you can easily use and implement, but also these people, Cass Sunstein, that work with Richard Thaler, has been specifically researching how to shift people into the sustainability direction, how you can make sustainable behaviors more prevalent. So that's good, very good data. Yes, check. So thought number 2, yes, collect the scientifically proven mechanics that can guide and shape behavior and use them for designing interfaces that promote sustainability. But there's another thing. We have to fight all of that. We have to find people who have built the habits already around something. We have to find something like Metcalfe's law. That means the more people go on a platform, the more interesting the platform becomes, and the more difficult it is for anyone else to build something anew and to shift to somewhere else. And an endless number of UX designers that they all employ. Only I checked, like beginning of the week, the open UX positions that Amazon people has in the US is almost 1,000. That's only the open positions. So imagine how many they employ already. So, and we have to go against all of that. Yeah, 940. It's only the open. Yeah, exactly. No, but it's mad. It's just UX and just the open position. So it's madness. It's madness. So thought number 3. Okay, we have to not only work on implying one of those mechanics, but we have to structure those scientifically proven mechanics that can guide and shape behavior in a system. So how can we make sure that we not only use one of those mechanics, but apply more in a way that they work together neatly? And as I'm a strategist and I love frameworks and those kind of things, that's exactly what I came up with. How can we put them in a right order so that we can combine them in order to have greater impact, the greater impact that may overcome those other challenges? That's something that I love. So I said, okay, we want people in the beginning, we want to find mechanics that initiates purchase or signing up for plans that are more in the sustainability direction. We want to habituate that, so keep them doing that repeatedly or stick with a plan that they signed up for. And then ideally we want them to propagate that, to talk about what they're doing there. And we want to have mechanics for all of that and collect them in a way so that we know whatever the challenge is that we want to overcome, which ones to combine. And the other axis, we want to see which ones are more directed towards the already motivated, where you only have to put a "this is sustainable" sticker on, and then they say, oh, okay, then I chose that one. And the ones that need a little bit of nudging, probably, and the ones that don't really care, but that would be okay with buying something sustainable, so that work on a more subconscious level. And framework, love that. And after I found that, I thought about, okay, what's something, the school topic that everyone hated? Chemistry. So I came up with a periodic table of those proven mechanics and that. And these are only the ones that I have data that I have used already and applied, but there are so many more to come after that, and that we can use and apply, and they neatly order into that one. And I call it, I come from marketing originally, I call it the periodic system of proven patterns for sustainability, or PPP4S. Yeah, exactly. Let's see if that sticks. But at least the idea. So, and then when I started doing that, super excited, pandemic hit. And we all had other things to do, as did I. And there were many other challenges, and I also saw that other people out there have a similar idea, but that nothing really seems to stick. And I noticed it doesn't stick because you have so many other things to do. And then also what I noticed is that you don't always have an opportunity. You don't always have a client where you can apply that, where this is a topic, even if you have that kind of thinking. So time is limited, and this challenge is really big, and this is something that's dear to my heart, and I want to do something about that. And yeah, so it's the range of clients I can talk to. And this is my potential impact. Like this. So even if I convince everyone in all of my talks, that's that. Yeah, right? So, and this is why I changed the topic or the outlook of my presentation. Not only presenting you all those neatly mechanics, but instead wanted to have a conversation with you. in the end, where you give me feedback if you'd, on the one hand, like to join that, if you would like, I want to have this as an open source thing, more or less, that everyone can look at, can use, but should contribute to as well, so that it grows and that we can all use in order to make our clients or our employers try out those kind of things. And yeah, I want to hear from you if you'd be interested in that, what we can change, what we can make different, how we can add. So that's maybe on the back of your minds for the rest of what I'm doing now. But naturally, I also wanted to give you some ideas about the nice little mechanics and what I put together for that. So I might be running out of time a bit. So I brought some examples. I may not go through all of the ones that are included. We'll rush through some of them. But just to give you an understanding of what lies behind that pattern, behind that one. Periodic table. So let's, and they are, as you can see, in German. So that was when I initially set those up. I hope that's okay. But a lot of my clients are German. So there you go. That's easy, right? Default. We all know the power of defaults. I think the latest application. Since then, everyone knows about the power of defaults is like the cookie consent. You stick with what you have, that kind of stuff, right? Studies that we can use to convince clients to apply that to sustainable behavior. Usually, everyone says, yeah, for cookie consent, no, that's when people don't change their behavior, but not for the more important stuff. So it is a generalizable impact that people stick with defaults, even for important stuff. So pension defaults, if you sign the new employees up for a pension scheme in the UK, they stick with it. If they have to opt in, yeah, okay, design was finalized yesterday, so on me. If they have to opt in, it's 61%, but if they have to opt out of the pension scheme, it's 83%, and that's a huge decision that you make. What kind of pension scheme you're signing up for. And another thing that I like to tell everyone is it has a lasting impact. Because people are lazy. No, but I first go for this. So signing people up for a renewable energy default. So you sign up for, you move into a new flat. They sign you up automatically for renewable energy. People stay with it. After 4 years, people didn't change. And that's not only because they're lazy, but also because they then feel like, I'm a person who wants sustainable energy. They integrate that into their personality, that they are for pro-sustainability arguments. So working with that, making them go in there very easily, and then they will stick with it. So that's data that you can use in order to convince people. And another scheme. Then I found, I realized we have to categorize a bit where we can apply those mechanics. Because not everyone can apply to every industry and every use case and stuff like that. So I try to group them around the e-coms. That is about, you have a big purchase, a big retailer or a shop or an e-commerce platform, and you want to make people add some sustainable products into the basket. So they have other stuff, but shifted more in that direction. Then in the service sector, it is more about initially signing up for something that is sustainable, so also the choice in the beginning, but then also for them to stick to that kind of behavior and make it more sticky. This one is less about really keeping a long-term relationship. The good ones are the sustainable energy providers themselves or the sustainable, I don't know, supermarkets or anything. You want to make the UX as good for them as it can be. And then there would be government and public institutions. My problem is, I think Yeah, where to start? My problem is I don't have any, that's not one of my clients, I don't work for the industry. Therefore, the only thing that I see is as a user from the outside, and yes, I wouldn't know where to start. And I don't have many insights on the sector, but I know how important that is, and I know this is why I included it in general. So if any of you is working for one of those, then I'd love to see the insights, but I don't have any. So coming back to that, okay, if you apply that, what you can do with e-commerce is you can have defaults like show only sustainable products, that they will be shown first in the stream, for example. Add a sustainable alternative to your basket, so recommendations then come like that. A sustainable plan, potentially, or something like CO2 compensation, if that's something that has a long shipping or production is not so good. Thinking about fashion, stuff like that. Service sector, similar, and the good ones, it's more about only the sustainable plan because it's not shifting behavior to add something sustainable, but rather about making it a plan as opposed to the other stuff. Okay, next one. I'll now go through a couple, and then you can, if I look in your faces and you get really bored, then I'm trying to jump quicker. Because I'm super excited about each of those and all the studies and stuff like that. So, or you can say, next one, really do that, because many, many more, and I don't know what timing is like. Oh, fuck. Yeah. So, okay, next one. Augenblickliche Varianz. Yes, scientifically. Momentarily variance, probably. So imagine you have a canteen, and you go to the canteen, and can choose from the menu, and it stays the same over the week. If I go there and can choose each and every day anew, there's a high likelihood that I always choose the same, because, oh, it's Monday, I'm hungover from the weekend, let's have a pizza. Next day, oh my God, this meeting was so exhausting, I need to do something nice to myself. I have a pizza. Wednesday, I don't know what it is, but Thursday then will be, oh my God, this has been a shit week anyway, so let's have pizza. You act like that, but if you have people choose at the beginning of the week, they will add more variance. It's just like looking at a dish. They want more different colors in that, if you do that in the beginning. So if you can create a situation where they, in the beginning, choose what the plan is going to look like, then it's very likely that they'll have those different ones, not only in food, even though it's a example that I think we all can understand. And studies have proven if you have a sequential choice for each day or each time that you sign up for something, and you have 46% of people who do 3 times the same, and only 8 who do 3 times something different. And if you have a simultaneous choice, 1/3 of people reconsider their choice. 1/3 of people add something else to their basket, to their things. When it comes to, yeah, exactly, the e-coms could use that for subscriptions. So diapers, for example, even if they don't trust that the sustainable diapers are the better ones, add one for every third, and then they can see and adopt the behavior and stuff like that. Service sector, investment plans, maybe you don't trust that the sustainable investment offers or ETFs are the only ones that work, but as every third makes sense, and naturally meal and food plans and all of those kind of things that can be easily applied. What's important in terms of UX is that you have a visual product presentation. Only saying the third one is going to be a sustainable one is not convincing enough, because our brain works like you have to have the visuality of that's different. So coming to the investment plans, you should ideally have different icons that represent that the other one is a sustainable one, or different pictures in order to do that, because people don't process the variance, if it's words, the same way as they do in a visual representation. So that's an important learning that you can apply for that. Third one, social norms. I don't know how many of you have been working with that, but that's something that I think many people know about. So if you do something as an individual decision, it may come to a different outcome as if you've been told there is a group norm. 8 of 10 people do that and that. And an important finding is the more specific the group norm, the higher the impact, the more likely that I adopt to that. So if it's only women do that, or 8 of 10 people do that, then it's less likely that I feel I want to be part of that group or I behave in the direction that the group behaves, as if it would say mothers that work and live in that city or something like that. If it's presented that way, way likelier that I'll act that way. Studies show, again, data. So increase in timely debt repayment. In the UK, you have to repay your debts. If you just tell them, please pay in the next 28 days, 33% do it. If you tell them 90% that live in your city do that, 35.8% do that. And if you say 90% in your city that have the same debt score like you do that, then it shifts even more. So the more specific you get, the better it gets. And what I found very important, not everyone has the data. Not everyone can compare you to your city or to your demographics or anything like that. And even soft norms, as you can call them, work with people. So if you tell them many of our customers do this and that, then even that shifts behavior. And that's a very fun study that I can talk more about. In the UK, obviously, you have people who write your wills. And there you could say, if you want to write your will, they included the question that many of our customers give to charity. And then even those people would give percentages to charity in their wills. Okay, that. How can you apply that? So in you can do something like in 2021, we had a 20% increase in sustainable purchases in Berlin. That is data that most of the companies can look at themselves. They don't need to have anything that's matched. They don't need to have anything more specific matching to when they play it out to the customer than the city that they live in. So that's easy to pull data, because you can usually see from which city a person is logging in. So that is something that can be applied. But let's have a guess. So if we talk about fashion, for example, you can also use data like 20% of women do this and that, so that's an easy one. Here you can be more specific. If it is really about signing up for a plan, then usually you have more background data that you can use and can make it more specific on people that have your plan or anything like that. And also, naturally, if you are a company who only sells good products like energy, like green energy, or like, I don't know, an ecological fashion producer, or FMCGs or anything like that, that only sell sustainable products, then naturally you can say 10,000 people in your area trust our sustainable offer and reinvest in local activities, that kind of stuff. Okay. Here, you can also work with defaults again, if you want to, increase that. Personalized text, naturally, modules in the product presentation that pulls the data in there. Interactive tools, like you really can have a map that people can jump to. That's naturally the gold standard. So a company really wants to invest in sustainability if they program a complete tool for it. But pulling that into that kind of data is not that much of an effort. And on the other hand, UX-wise and programming-wise, it's not that difficult to add that little layer where you have the social norms showing up. And people did it already. So if someone knows that example from Flixbus, I don't know anyone who's working there. I would love to see how it worked. They say that yesterday over 5,000 of our customers chose the climate neutral option or added to that. So they set social norms that our customers do that. And that's data that they obviously easily can pull because they know the ratio. Yeah, social norms working. Instant feedback, something we know from gaming a lot, has two aspects to it. On the one hand, it is giving you feedback of which way to act. So if you learn a new system in a game, or if you are in third grade and have to learn a language for the first time, it directs you into what kind of behavior you should show for the first time. But we know also in education and workplaces that in the beginning it motivates and works as a reward, but over time it shouldn't be shown too often and after each and every of the actions, because then the actions don't habituate. Exactly. So the other ones were about choice, so moving choice in a direction. This is about habituating your actions, your behaviors. So making people stick with it. Good examples, smart meters. If you install smart meters in energy, so that the people can directly see how much energy they're using at the moment, only visualizing to them how much they're using and spending, 22% less consumption of energy. They don't waste as much if they see, oh, I could, as soon as I turn off the TV screen or whatever, it goes down. That even works. And I just included that because I find it so interesting that people really do studies on garbage sorting accuracy in student dorms. So do they sort the glass to the glass and everything like that? And even with students in dorms, it works. That's a lovely study. And yeah, it works over time. So e-coms, naturally, after purchase, tell everyone, great, you did something for the environment. Just remind them that your action was in the right direction. And I think it becomes super interesting if you think about mobility. Imagine you get off a train and was delayed maybe again, and you're annoyed anyway, slightly, but half an hour later you get, oh, and by doing this, you saved that and that amount of CO2. It makes me reframe the whole trip. It's not only me getting from A to B, and it was a shit experience because it was late or something like that, but I did something good with that. I feel like a better person if they would do that. And yeah, and I would, I would also say that if you have sustainable investments, stuff like that, then and they only signed up for it once, but every time the transaction kicks in, you have to tell them again, you did something good in the beginning, so that you get more positive energy of that. And yes, naturally after purchase, after monthly transaction for the other guys. So, and here, important, those notifications, not too often and not too long. So after every train ride, after the 10th time, maybe not telling that anymore, because then you are just like in the feedback loop of, yes, thank you, but with me being a good person, you should still probably improve your service. So not a good thing. And also people think most of the time, oh, maybe I've done enough. So that's not a good thing if you tell them again and again and again and reward them again and again. Next one, sunk costs. Shall I go into that one, or I have 2, 3 more? Is it getting a bit exhausting now? Then I would, no, good, okay, good. Sunk costs, I don't know who knows about that from the nudging theory, the bias theories of Kahneman and Tversky. If you're aware, or if you invest into something, you're more likely to stick with it. So if you stand in a line, in a queue already at the postal office, and it took you half an hour to stand there, and even though you know it might be so much better to get back tomorrow where there's no queue, you still stick there because you've invested so much already and you're annoyed with that. And the same goes if you have a car that breaks down the whole time and you've had 3 repairs that year, you're more likely to not sell that car, but to invest even more in the repairs. So that's how we work, how our brains work. And usually what economists want to do is make people aware that you do that, and that's not a good thing. But maybe we can use that for sustainability. So this is something, yeah, data, super interesting. If you give people the choice, there's a lottery ticket that has a 10% chance of winning and a 20% chance of winning. Which one would you use? Yes, most people do that if they're given that chance. But then, if you say to people, okay, we've randomly assigned you to a group that gets a 10% chance of winning ticket for a lottery. Wait a minute, maybe 5. And after that say, okay, so now you've got another option. You can choose to have one that gets 20% chance of winning. Would you like that instead before the lottery starts? 7% of people say, no. The other one was for me specifically. I don't want the other one, which is surprising, isn't it? Because they feel linked to that. But now it gets even worse. If you let them do a really boring task that they earn points to get the 10% ticket, and then after that they get the chance to get the 20% ticket, they say, a quarter of the people say, no, now it's mine. I've earned the 10% one. That I want to keep. I think it's a special one. I'll probably have more likelihood to win with that one that's only 10%, but for me, maybe it's 15. Stuff like that. So really, really weird. But we are like that. And how could you maybe use that for people? So again, then, here it's all about making people stick to a plan. So imagine you've signed up for a monthly ticket at a public transport, or you had a sustainable investment plan, or an insurance that it's more focused on reinvestment of sustainable plans. If they are in the moment of that they want to cancel, tell them, oh my God, you've gone that far, you've invested already that much. Do you really want to switch the plan? Do you really want to cancel that? Or do you want keeping up the good behavior that you've already shown and everything that you put in there, all the work you did into that? And the same goes naturally for the sustainable energy providers, those kind of stuff. So sending those kind of messages out. In terms of UX, just don't make it like, okay, you've done so much, that's okay. But rather, but there's still so much to go, so that people don't become smug and self-satisfied and say, oh, yes, I invested that much, no, my work is done. That's important, that you have that in the messaging, and also probably tie it to a larger message of, we've created a movement like that. Okay. Next. Public announcements, öffentliche Bekenntnisse. I love that as well. Marriage is probably the oldest one, where you not only, so before it was binding by, I don't know, whatever standards, you had a marriage was something that you say in front of people, and that made you stick to the person more than before. And written commitments, they've shown in studies, work way better to make people stick to it than only stated ones. And I don't know if you remember those kind of things from work, for example. If I write to someone, I'll have it done by then and then. I'm more likely to really do that, as opposed to, no, really, I'll do that at the coffee machine and then leave. So we all know how that works. And that is a super interesting one. You can trick people kind of into it if they agree to a small favor in the beginning, and then to a larger one, because again, then here comes into play that they feel like the person who does that. So they change the perception of their personality. Studies to show that. First of all, meta-analysis. I love that. That means many, many studies looked at, and the impact is real. So for people who want to nerd out on that one, happy to do so. Here it was sign-ups for a community program to recycle. They had little Boy Scouts only going around in a community and say, would you like to sign up? It's a non-binding agreement, but we as Boy Scouts want you to sign up. And then, just to make them go away, probably, people signed up and said, yeah, thank you, thank you. Mm-hmm. But if people weren't asked, only 11% in the end then signed up for the real program. And if they'd just been asked by the Boy Scouts, it rose up to 48%. Just asking them, non-binding, very easy, you can go into that, that works. So following up for people who do information rounds and stuff like that is really, really important. And this is really, 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 really funny. In the US, they asked people to put a big sign, I know that's one of those standard things, yeah, a big sign in front of the lawns that says, I'm against, I think it was a speed limit, I'm for speed limit, I think it was speed limits, right? So I'm for a speed limit. Imagine, in the US, 2% agree to that. Yeah. But what they did first is, again, then having people go to the doors and say, I don't know if they even use children again, maybe. No, and ask them to have a bumper sticker that said, I am for responsible, responsible driving behavior saves lives. That's something pretty much everyone agrees to. And if you just say, okay, please put it on because we've got this initiatives, I don't know how many accidents we have. If people did that, and after that they were asked to put the sign in front, then they were more likely to do that because it became part of their personality, that they care about that they're a good citizen in that regard. How can we use that? So make people share after the purchase that they did something. Make it go to their social streams. And I think that's super important if you have an audience that is younger, where engaging in social and sustainability and behavior is really an important thing that you want to signal. So you can have that them doing that easier, and then they will be more likely to stick to it over a longer time. You can ask for a small eco-commitment while purchase, or just sign up. Just like, oh, do you want to in the future hear about anything like that? Are you interested in that in general? Just like clicking that box becomes something that you then commit to. And then again, also the sharing after purchase and sign up. Here, it gets even nicer because you can just ask them very easily, would you like to be named on our wall of people who are subscribing for the energy saving plan? Or do you want a social media badge? We include that into that. Or then as a second step, you can even have a peer-to-peer program. After they signed up for one of those smaller ones, they're more likely to share it, to go into a peer-to-peer program. So you can really think about how that's going to build over time if you have a small investment in the beginning and then another one. Yeah. I don't go into it, yeah. What I loved is, I don't know who's seen that, the Deutsche Bahn campaign before Christmas. They jumped on the idea of the Glasgow commitment and said, okay, if you switch, so that's a business Bahn card. If you have a business Bahn card 100, if you sign up for that, then you get 50% rebate. So, which it's not rebate, but that discount. Thank you very much. Yeah, and rebate is the bad one. I'm always mixing those up. You get like that. And what you can see here is that obviously the idea was that people share that in order to give the good impression of they are now really into the sustainability business, and they used it as a PR case. So they've measured all the PR value of that. I'm not entirely sure if they've even realized that they will have people stick to that plan, to that Bahn card for the next couple of years, way more, because they publicly position themselves as someone who is using that kind of Bahn card. Okay, yeah, I get them. I get the ones. Okay, imagine, perfect. That was the last one I included. I didn't know which one, how many I had in there. First learnings of applying that. Also, it's about learnings and stuff. Communicating this to senior management gets complex and detailed very quickly. So if you really say, okay, we want to imply this and that into the UX, and then you have to invest this and this and this, people get lost because no one wants to follow at that detailed level, at that management level. We have to do that in the end. We have to program it. We have to get it through. We have to negotiate with. Doesn't matter. So very quickly, what works is combined impact modeling. And modeling always means guessing, good guessing, educated guessing. So as an example, imagine an eco-tariff for an energy provider that has other tariffs as well. And in order to convince them to apply certain metrics, you say, okay, if you put that one, the start screen at your homepage will feature a sustainability message. You label it as ecologically very big. You increase the tangibility of the outcome. That's a different one that I didn't include in here. Sorry. And so, and you apply the social norms thing. Then you use the data that you have in order to say, okay, the current number of people signing up for that is a 0.1% percentage point uptake, and you always use the very, very conservative ones. Still, usually, it gets to quite okay numbers. And then in the end, you can say, okay, that's going to be an uptake in a very conservative case of that many people. And then they see it's not only about making customers happy or anything like that, but then it gets the money discussion again. And how can you not do something that may get people to do that, that may increase your revenue on that? So that's then a different discussion that we're having. And that's, I think, way more interesting one. Because it sticks better, and then we can do our work. Okay. Another tool, sell the optimal vision. Again, if you want to convince people at a higher level. Optimum vision. We tend to be in, so if we're in our working environments and we really have to apply that, what we usually do is, okay, maybe this won't get through and this doesn't make sense, but that's not the point here. You really shouldn't let yourself be restrained by technical feasibility or cost anything. If you really want to have people buy into the vision, make it the best possible combination of all of that and the best possible outcome of all of that. And if they then water it down, it's on them, not on you that you didn't think about that. And if they buy into the big vision and then they don't make that happen, that's again on them. So that is where you gain momentum, really big vision. Focus on the ideal user outcome and, even most importantly, tie that to company goals. So may it be the sales goal, but they all will have sustainability goals. So you can tell them, okay, this is how you reach your goals way better with doing and investing in that. And learning number 2, for me personally, since using that and thinking about that and having that at the back of my mind, my focus personally changed towards identifying those kind of opportunities. So whenever I talk to customers now, it runs in the back of my mind, okay, how can I carve into that a discussion about the sustainability projects? And that, over to you.
Any questions?
From the room.
From the room.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, dear.
We'll share afterwards.
Yeah.
Where can I sign?
Yes, please, thank you.
I've been waiting all the time to ask you that question. No,
oh, that's so lovely.
Thank you so much. That's so
Lovely.
inspiring. And although the chemistry periodic table maybe not so much, we need to talk.
Let's do that. Happy to.
Anybody else?
Yes, thanks.
So, as far as I understood, your PPP4S is some kind of, I would say, I understand it as a blueprint for user interaction, as I could use it. And you showed us how to use it for sustainable products. So, in times of greenwashing and how things are used today, first question, aren't you afraid of that it will be used for that? And the second thing, do you have examples where things are used in behavioral design?
Okay. Question number one, yes, sure.
Yep.
But it's going to be done anyway.
Yeah.
And the other ones use those kind of mechanics anyway. That's the same discussion you have around governmental nudging, where you say, oh, can't it be used in a different way to shape behaviors of people like that? And then I have to say, marketing does that since 1930. So they already apply that. Why not do that in a systemic way for something that ideally is done in a good way, and those people who have a good cause behind, make them aware that it's there? Because sometimes you feel, or I get the feedback of, oh, isn't that really bad, making people change their behavior in a certain way, and so that you negate the whole idea of changing or shifting people's behavior towards a certain thing if you have a good cause, especially if you talk about those people who have the big vision of sustainability. But at least let's try. Let's do that, let's apply that. And yes, there's certain examples that I included into that. I'm not allowed, so I don't have any case that I can talk about, let's put it that way.
That's fine.
Then you have the sustainability studies where they have big behavior changes, behavior design changes made from the big labs and the governmental nudging units and stuff like that. So, cool.
Hi, this was a pretty good and also very beautiful presentation.
Yeah,
Will you share?
I give it to Heiko, the designer, who had to work on that till last night. Yeah.
Will you share that with us on your website or somewhere?
I wanted, so I put that presentation that way to get the last week. We'll, if someone is interested, if we really want to make that a bigger thing, as opposed to then it is a quid pro quo thing. It's not only me sharing that, but I want to have a community and people contributing as well. But yes, we can chat. You can contact me afterwards. I'll
cool. I
put
think
down
in our
my
company,
email address.
Many are interested in this topic.
Yeah. I'll share my email. Well, I didn't have my email address. That means just like me thinking through that, getting super excited about the content, but less about the rest.
We will find a way. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think we have one in the chat.
Ooh, oh my God! This, yeah, people are really excited about this. I get that. Yeah.
So inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, that was that. Oh,
Yeah,
thank
that
you.
was
I take
that.
that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you.